Hi again folks, how are you all doing? Welcome to episode 14 of In the Shed. Let's have a look at some of the other locomotives I've been working on recently. First up is this Hornby 008 shunter sent to me by Michael. This was in need of a good service and a bit of sorting out. The magnet was the wrong way round, reversing the polarity. The armature needed reseating as it was a bit out of position. The top bearing was badly worn but still worked okay, and the rods and cranks were badly bent. So I took it all apart, cleaned it, oiled it and corrected the bent rods and cranks, and it ran okay. This Hornby J83 was sent to me by Martin. He said he couldn't get this to run, and when I looked at it I found that the motor was burnt out. Seriously burnt out. I haven't seen a Type 7 motor fried like this before. Fortunately I had a couple of spare motors, so I fitted one and gave the rest of the model a once over, and it ran fine, although a little noisy in reverse for some reason, and no amount of fiddling with the worm gear seemed to sort it. I even tried another motor, but it was still a lot louder in reverse, so maybe something to do with the drive gear, but otherwise it ran fine. This Hornby Gentian LMS Maroon was sent to me by Paul. It had been subjected to some serious jiggery faffery. One of the steps was hanging off, the rods were on upside down and were bent, and the pickup wires were disconnected. On testing the motor it was noisy and running very hot, so I replaced it with a spare XO3 motor. The drive axle bearings seemed very worn, causing a nasty wobble, so I fitted new ones and sorted the wiring out and the rods, and it ran fine. Unfortunately, for some reason I have no footage of this running on the layout. I must have accidentally deleted it. I'm very good at doing that. This Hornby Flying Scotsman was sent to me by Lyle as it had a broken wire in the locomotive needing repairing. It also had a loose tyre on the front bogie. So I sorted the broken wire, gave the locomotive a check over to make sure the gears and everything else was okay. I sorted the loose tyre and glued a couple of detail parts back on that had come loose, and that was the Scotsman back in action. Darren sent me a couple of locomotives to look at. Firstly, this old Triang duck shunter. It needed a full overhaul and it had a split drive gear which needed replaced. I dismantled the motor, cleaned everything and rebuilt it, remagnetised the magnet, and I also fitted a headlight which was missing. Fortunately I had a spare one, and that was this old duck shunter complete again and back to full running order. Darren also sent me this Triang Princess. It needed a full service and I remagnetised the motor. The pickup wire was disconnected and needed soldered back on. The model had a missing set of wheels on the front bogie and I'd ran out of any spares. So I looked online for replacements but could only find complete bogies, not wheels on their own. So I ordered up one of the bogies available on eBay with the idea to remove an axle and its two wheels and at least have, another set spare. The seller on eBay turned out to be a fan of my videos and offered a full refund on the bogie, which was super, super kind of him. So a big thanks to the eBay seller, PR1 Collectibles. I'll put a link to his eBay shop in the description. Once everything was done, this old princess ran fine. This old 008F was sent to me by Alan. I've worked on a few Wren 8Fs and the Bachmann one, but not a 001, but it's pretty much the same as the Wren one though, of course. This had a very loose drive gear and the front bogie wheels had been replaced with incompatible ones that were too big, and it lifted the entire bogie up so the locomotive wouldn't run properly. After servicing the motor, replacing the bogie wheels with original 001s I had spare, it ran okay. I always find the 00 version of a model runs better than the Wren version of the same locomotive. I suspect the armatures are better, but maybe it's just me. Alan also sent me this Triang Transcontinental B60. It ran not too bad, but clearly needed a service and the lighting wasn't working. I took it apart to give it a good clean and remagnetised the motor. The lighting wires had simply become disconnected, and once reconnected they worked fine. Bit fiddly as the lighting wires have to plug into the locomotive body from the bogie. Unfortunately, the model could really only run on my test track due to the old Triang large flanged wheels, but Alan was pleased to have this back in running order. This very play-worn 00 City of London was sent to me by Derek. It was missing its body fixing screw and the coupling was bent. Derek asked if I could replace the coupling with a tension lock. The model did run, but not very well, so I took it apart to service the motor and remagnetise, etc. I found that one end of the pickup was hitting the spokes, so that needed adjusting. I replaced the coupling with an Airfix or Dapple type tension lock, and I found a screw that fitted to hold the chassis and body together. It ran okay with a little noise and some inconsistent speed, but that's pretty normal for these old models. They like to run at a good speed and benefit from a good long warm-up. Dan sent me a number of models to look at. These two Hornby 37s both needed a good service. The William Cook worthy needed new brushes and traction tyres, but was otherwise fine after a good going over, and the freight one just needed a good service. I was going to do a double 37 feature video on these, but then I bought the Lima 37 at the Falkirk exhibition and did a video on that instead. I didn't really want to have 37 overload, although I don't think you really can have too many 37s. Dan also sent me this Lima 08 shunter, not my favourite model this, I've worked on a couple before. It's very difficult to remove the motor gears easily and it's not the best runner. Lima didn't do a good job with their 060 locomotives, I don't think. Apart from a service, I fitted a coupling hook and it ran okay, but yeah, it's a bit noisy and not the smoothest. And finally, Dan also sent me this HO Lima TGV. I worked on the GUF version of this model fairly recently, but this was Lima's take on the same model. A bit of a puzzle to get into the thing, but I figured out the part at the rear that unclips and comes out, and then you can unclip and slide off the body from the chassis. The motor bogie had a lot of wires attached to it because of the directional lighting, and the bogie is a very, very tight fit in the chassis. It was a real fiddle getting the motor out to service it, and getting it back in and free moving was even worse. A really bad design, but it does run much better than the GUF one, not unsurprisingly. Pity I didn't have the rest of the set. So there you go, that's some of the other locomotives I've been working on recently, and that'll be the last in the shed of the year. Episode 15 will be next month. I tend not to do too many repairs during the last half of December. The postal service is just a disaster area, so yeah, it's not the best time to be sending locomotives off to people and stuff, so, or expecting them to send them to me. So we'll wait till the silly season's over before we get back into doing repairs again properly. But in the meantime, I've got plenty to do to the layouts, so I'll maybe finally get those 2 points replaced. We shall see. Anyway, remember to give me a like for this video and subscribe if you haven't done already, and see the links in the description. And I shall catch you later.